Hi guys, Elina is here. Today we're in Stockholm, Sweden, visiting Gabriella Skog. Gabriella will make a room tour for us, share the insights about the Scandinavian lifestyle, and we're also going to talk about vardagslyx, the Swedish phenomenon of enjoying everyday luxury and cherishing the little things that make our life happier. Hope you enjoy the video.
I'm Gabriella, I'm 25 years old and I live in Stockholm in Sweden, and I work as a geologist but also a bit part-time as a food influencer and blogger here in Sweden. And today I would like to show you where I live and my apartment that I share with my boyfriend, and sort of a few details on how I make my everyday life a bit special and yeah, fun. I definitely think the most special thing about this room is the bookshelf. My boyfriend and I read a lot, so building like a massive bookshelf was pre-decided before we bought this apartment. We just draw the design by ourselves, and then my boyfriend and I and my boyfriend's dad built it together during a weekend, and it was like a really fun activity to do together. Then we've just filled it up with books that we like, and we also have like a little liquor shelves with some cocktail books here as well. These are books that we recently read and some that we are about to read. It's always nice when I sit in the sofa and look up at the bookshelf, and it's just a soothing, like calming view. It's the same like feeling I get when I'm in the library or like in a bookstore. We painted the wall, and it's a color from Faro and Ball called verdigris green, and I really like it because it's from a special collection that they did with the Natural History Museum. So this color actually sits in the Natural History Museum of London, which I think it's really special to know, like it's in our apartment and in the History Museum. So we painted the wall, and then we built the shelf. The shelves were in pure wood to begin with, so we painted them as well. We have a big wine collection. This is like half of it. We have a lot in our cellar as well. I really like this shelves. It's from IKEA called Omar. My boyfriend and I really, enjoy wine, and we've during the past years become really into natural wine, which tend to have these like funky bits, modern etiquette. So this is from an Austrian producer called Guttogau, which always has these hand-drawn portraits on their bottles. Passion towards wine started when I got more and more into food. I didn't know that much about wine to begin with, but I learned that when I knew a little bit more about the producer or the grape that the wine was in, the more I enjoyed wine, and the more wine became like not just for drinking, but something that you actually enjoy as a cultural thing, like an art, because it really is. Like when you get more into the craftsmanship that's behind wine producing and behind the producers and the knowledge and the history, it is an art form. I follow a lot of local wine importers in Sweden, and I learn what's new and what's coming next week. In Sweden we have the alcohol monopoly, so in order to buy wine you have to go to one special store, and they have like the limited edition bottles released every other Tuesday, I think it is, and if you want them you have to like stand in line or like be really fast in the online web shop. So I found that quite amusing. It's like a hunt to actually get the wine. This is a print from Laurits Andersen Ring. He's a Danish painter. This painting is called At the Breakfast Table. And I actually, it's a print, it's not an original. I think the original is actually in the Swedish National Museum here in Stockholm. I bought this print from a flea market in Dalarna, which is an area a bit north in Sweden. Almost every art piece in our apartment, I would say, is vintage or secondhand thrifted. Almost all the furniture is as well. I thrift a lot, and I find a lot of joy in thrifting or shopping secondhand or vintage, not just for economical reasons, but also, you know, it's fun to go on the hunt and know that something that you have has been pre-loved and that you're part of a larger circle. This one is thrifted and I really, really like it. I bought it from like a young girl and it was her parents originally, but she was gonna move from her apartment. So she sold it for me for like a couple of euros and I was like, yay! This lamp I also found at a thrift shop outside of Stockholm, and it's one of my favorite pieces in this apartment. I think it was originally like white, like this curtain, but it has like been bleached, which I almost like it more like this, or I do like it more like this. This table is like a really old antique Swedish slagboard, it's called. You can like fold in these legs and then you can like fold the whole table together. The chairs are a lot more new. I think they're from the 70s or 80s from a Swedish design company called Blå Station. And I also bought them from Marketplace for a couple of hundred Swedish krona. I love this painting as well. Something that you see when you get into the room. It's very bright and colorful. This is sort of the first like actual home for my boyfriend and I. Before living here, we lived in super small student houses. So this is our first like official apartment. So I kind of decided that although I do get daily inspiration from like Instagram and Pinterest, I tried to not, you know, when I was a bit younger, I would like look at a Pinterest picture and say, you know, I want that exactly. But I think it's easy to pick, you know, look at another apartment and say this is super pretty, which it is, like from an, you know, objective point of view. But still, it's not 100% you. Like it's not coming from you. So I try to, you know, just look at things that I like, try to choose furniture and art with my heart and together with my boyfriend as well. I think a lot of people are scared to pick colorful furniture because they're afraid that it will be like too much or it won't match. But I think, you know, we can be a little bit more brave, and as long as you like it, it will be nice eventually. We shouldn't overthink too much. So this is actually originally like a blanket, a hand-woven blanket by an artist named Kian Mosharaf. He's an Iranian artist, so he made this blanket for a brand called Slow Down Studio. So they make like a lot of blankets like these, but also like rugs and textile items. And they give like small artists a chance to distribute their art in like a larger scale. I built like a wooden frame. I stretched the blanket around. The wooden frame is like here, but it's hollow right here. And then I just sort of attached it with staples. We do wall tapestry in Sweden, especially in like old Swedish cabins. There will always be like some wall tapestry, like some fabric hanging on the walls. For Swedes, I don't think putting textiles or blankets on the wall, it's not uncommon, and a lot of people do it. We really like board games. We play a lot of Yatzy. It's really pretty actually. It's like a blue canvas box. So we usually play on weekdays or on weekends when it's just like the two of us. Because we are quite shy in Sweden, and board games or like games at holidays or like family gatherings is always a good way to like break the ice and get warm into your clothes when you meet new people, or, you know, just play like we have, especially on midsummer and on our crayfish parties, we play like kamp, which is like 5 competitions, basically translated, where you play like 5 silly games and the one who gets the most points win. And that can be like anything. It can be like, you know, spitting a grape as long as possible. Or we have one called like Norwegian hangover, where you like grab a stick and you spin your head around it, and then you're supposed to run like a track, but your head is so dizzy. It's super silly. But yeah, I think generally we like playing games, not just board games, but, you know, any game together. This is the balcony. Oh, spider. I will put him on my flower. Usually it's really nice to just sit here. We have some pine trees outside. Our house is built on sort of a hill, so we have quite a nice view over the rooftops, and we get a really nice sunset in the evening. It's just nice to sit here, read a book, have a drink, have a coffee, have breakfast. These like metal tables I actually thrifted, and then I put the ceramics on top of it myself. So it was just like pure black iron before, but I bought standard ceramic tiles, super cheap, and then I just did the whole process. You put like ceramic glue, I think, to begin with, and then clay between, and then just let it dry, and then I wipe the excess over. In Swedish they're called pelargoner. It's a very, very common Swedish balcony flower. You will see it in every grandma balcony or window. And then we have a lot of basil. This is just like a store-bought basil that I planted. Good question. I think, all of that came like with sort of the holistic trend, like veganism and like healthy food, slow living, and I think just plants and taking care of plants sort of fitted organically into that way of life. Instead of spending your life buying fast fashion or being really into career or stressful, not sleeping way of life. Plants and just taking care of them, I think it decreases anxiety and it's good for your mental health, and taking care of something that is not just yourself. Yeah, it's kale and it's some herbs. We have a lot of herbs on the other side of the house as well. And then we have like an elderflower tree over there, which I plucked elderflowers from and made lemonade the other day. Vardagslyx, everyday luxury, I think boils down to time, really. Like if you look at it from a very, very macro perspective, like if you don't, like some people obviously don't have time for vardagslyx because they come home late at night and maybe buy something from the supermarket to eat and then watch a series and goes to bed. So I feel very privileged and happy that I have time to do vardagslyx, which for me would be, having time to do my hobbies after work, like being in nature or a little bit of gardening or cooking, or I do horseback riding as well, so I'm in the stables a few days a week, and just spending less money on things that is, not really important, but you maybe think it's important, but actually resisting from buying, that new dress or that specific furniture that's super expensive. Maybe, taking the decision to not do it will actually make you happier than buying it. And while saving money, putting small money on like details, like a nice soap or a piece of bread, or a bouquet of flowers. That's probably vardagslyx for me. My boyfriend and I are really into cooking and food, so I think like the kitchen was the top priority when we looked at apartments. And this is not like the fanciest kitchen in any way, but it's functional. And another important thing for us was to have like an open-ish apartment between the living room and the kitchen. So this is perfect, I think, because it's not too open. You won't get grilled or like the fat in your face if you sit on the sofa, but it's still like you can talk to people when you're cooking and they will sit at the dinner table. So I really, really enjoy that. These are all my cookbooks or recipe books. I really, really enjoy this shelf. I usually get that question a lot, like, do you actually cook from the recipes? And no, I actually rarely do. Sometimes I do if there's something super specific that I'm gonna cook, but usually it's mainly for inspiration. I just love to, while having breakfast, I sometimes read that instead of the newspaper. I don't think, not cooking the recipes is a bad thing. It's just how you gain inspiration, really. And if you don't cook the recipes, that's fine. I still think that cookbooks are awesome and a good, way to learn new things or getting to other cuisines. Everyone is like, doesn't it get dusty? And yes, it does. The things we don't use that often, but you wash it off. It's not worse than that. And I like the open space because I have a lot of ceramics, as you can see. If these would be in a shelf, I would just completely forget to use them. In the same way as having a walk-in closet, this is like my walk-in kitchen. I see everything, I have a good overview of my tools, my sourdough bread baskets where they rise, and then pasta machine also. I love my metal bowls, which I use every day, and then my Le Creuset pan. Then I have my cocktail tools down beneath. I really like making cocktails at the end of the week or even on weekdays. I do a lot of alcohol-free drinks. I just like the ritual, mixing a few elements of what I have in the fridge and, you know, doing that for myself, and then at the end of the day sort of unwinding in the couch. The most important thing in here is my Boston shaker. This is like a Japanese style shaker where you have the sieve on top of here. And this is a 3-piece shaker, but the Boston shaker is like super simple. It's just 2-piece and you just put it together like that and give it a bang, and then you shake. And it's super easy. And then when you fill your drink up, you usually sieve it through this to get the excess ice over. I have some more sieves and some straws. Like I love glass straws and metal straws, some umbrellas if you're having like a tropical drink. Similar to wine, I've become more and more into the art of making drinks, especially alcohol-free drinks, which I think have been put into a corner of like sodas and lemonades for a lot of time. This table is also really special. It's like a really old, antique Swedish table, and you can like fold it down like this. I really love the woodwork. I think this is probably a bit younger than the large table, but I would still say like late 19th century. This bowl is Moroccan. I got it from my mom a couple of years ago. I have a thing for fish, and my boyfriend's parents know it, so I actually got it from them a couple of weeks ago. And I also have a fish here. It's from a Danish brand called Ohio Copenhagen. It's like a Japanese koi fish and also a vase at the same time. This art piece is probably the most special to me in the apartment. It's a print from one of Picasso's sculptures. His widow, Jaqueline, gave it to the Icelandic Prime Minister in 1986. She put it out in an art exhibition on Iceland in Reykjavik. And Jaqueline was there, and she signed this portrait. Yeah, she signed 100 posters, and this is the 50th. I've been really fascinated by Pablo Picasso and also by Jacqueline Picasso and their life, faith. It's very special to have like a piece of that history in your apartment. I did not bake this bread, but I always have like a big piece of sourdough bread. I think it's super like important for the well-being of this kitchen and for me. My food interest has fluctuated between many different areas. So starting in like sourdough, for example, which I was obsessed with for a couple of years. And what I really found out was the more I got into sourdough and the more I got into food, and like the craftsmanship that food and sourdough actually is, the more I appreciate it whenever I'm at a really good bakery and I just have a croissant and I know, you know, the layering technique that's behind it. A lot of our kitchen equipment is thrifted as well. I usually look for material like steel or wood that's a little more, you know, sustainable. Not just, you know, from an environmental point of view, but it actually holds longer than plastic. A vintage potato masher, which I really like. And it's probably like 100 years old, but it's, you know, it does the job still. I usually tend to clean them with organic soap when I buy them, and then I just oil them in, and then they're as good as new. I tend to do that with my tools every now and then. I oil them in with coconut oil or olive oil, and they tend to last a lot longer. It's like a flower spray. I bought it at a store called Tambur in Sweden. But it's a really old English brand that makes these. The carbonator is from a Swedish brand called Aarke. And I really think, you know, I love carbonated water. I love soda water. But I've thought like previously that the soda machines haven't been like that aesthetically pleasing to me, so I was really happy when I found out about Aarke, and I really love their design. I do have some interesting things going on. Like the elderflower that I spoke about previously that we have in the yard. I'm making elderflower schnapps, which is like, I just put elderflower with the schnapps and some lemon. And this is not bad, by the way, it's just oxidizing. And it's just gonna stay like that until, you know, a few months or at least. And then I sieve it through and just preserve it in bottles. And this is elderflower lemonade as well, which I drink almost every day. It's just elderflower, sugar and lemon that I just let stand for a couple of days in like a big bowl, and then I put it into bottles. Yeah. Here we have like some chia seeds, we have some fajita spice, and then dukkha, which is like Middle Eastern like spice and nut mix. I really like it to put it on salads and everything. This is mushrooms or chanterelles that my mom picked and dried, and I just put it in a box and marks it out. Sunflower leaves that I usually like decorate cakes and or like put on salads with. So this is the bedroom. We have really cute bed sheets, which are very nostalgic to me because in our summer house a bit north up in Sweden, we always used to make the beds with seersucker because it's like really nice in the summer. It's sort of cooling, and this yellow is also very nostalgic. It's like a summer color to me. So this is my side of the bed, and this is my boyfriend's side of the bed. The lamps I actually bought new, but the bedside table is thrifted, and it's like common Swedish wood that's super cheap and you can find it everywhere nowadays. You know, everyone is sick of it, but I still think that we should treasure. It's still a very, very nice piece of wood and very, very good craftsmanship. This painting is a bit similar to the one I have in the living room, like a lady just doing her stuff. I really, really like it. I don't know the artist. I bought it at an antique shop. It's actually IKEA as well, but I thrifted it. Like, I mean, you can find really new furniture online or like on Marketplace. It was pure wood to begin with, but it's been repainted in a color called Dalablå, which is like Dala blue, and Dala or Dalarna is an area in Sweden where my family is from, so I felt really good about choosing this color, and I really, really like it. And I also think that it sort of mismatches the walls in like a bit of a funny way. The contrasts really make them sing with each other. Books that I'm gonna read this summer. We have, again, textiles on the wall. I found this in a thrift shop on Gotland, which is a small island outside of Sweden. These are thrifted, like just small items that I fall for. This is also furu, the same wood material as the tables. I'm probably a little bit more playful with interior and color than my boyfriend is. He was a little bit more reserved when we moved in here. And when I convinced him to paint the bedroom from like a super white color to like, it was eggshell I think, to this like really, it's called sulking room pink. It's like a really dark and subtle pink, almost purplish. I think he sort of felt rather than saw what a color can do to you in a room, and especially in this bedroom. Like coming in here, I feel really calm and like, you know, somewhere where I would like to rest and sleep. And I think that's the function of a bedroom, and a white bedroom just wouldn't do that same feeling for me. So I tend to choose color after like function and how I want a room to make me feel. Painting the kitchen in a like soft lemon cream yellow made a huge difference from when it was white originally. Like it's a lot softer and super nice room to be in now. This is the bathroom. It's very small, but it works and it suits us. I really like that it has a window. You rarely find that in Stockholm. Doing my morning routine and brushing my teeth, I have like a really nice sunlight in my face usually, which is I love that. We have like a small like wooden bench here, which is a quite odd material actually for a bathroom. So I think we're gonna remake this eventually, but you know, we're not in a hurry because it works. I have some beauty products here. This is a Swedish brand called Mantle, which I really like. I don't use that much like exfoliation products or scrubs. I really just tend to use a lot of moisture. And then I have like a little ceramic shell here, which is made from a Swedish artist. And her like ceramic brand is called Kjolverket. And she makes the super like cute little sculptures and trays. I really try to spend a little extra on soap because I just think it's like the silliest thing really, you know. You wash your hand, and especially this past year you washed your hand a lot, but I really like glassware bottles. This is from a brand called Frama. And I really like it, especially scents that are like musky, like sandalwood and cedarwood. I think it smells really nice. And I just realized, you know, the joy of a really good and nice smelling soap can actually affect like my mood. Scented candles. This one is called Bryggeriet, which is in English the brewery. These ones are the same brand and the same smell. So when we light them, it's like really, yeah, it's really relaxing and like quite musky in here. And then I have a transistor radio, which I really like. It's like a really old school thing with the worst sound ever. I bought it for like 1 Swedish krona at a flea market, but I really, really like the sound. It's very nostalgic to me, and I put it on when I'm in the shower, and it just feels like, you know, summer 1991 again. When we moved in here, we were really like, oh, the bathroom is actually quite shitty. We're gonna have to, you know, do something about it, because it actually looks like this underneath. So we have like a washing machine, and then we have like all of these pipes going around, and it was like very chaotic looking. And then, you know, a quick fix from my side was to just sew this sort of curtain from an old curtain, actually a window curtain. I think it makes the whole room a bit more neat, to just hide all of that stuff, like the washing machine and the pipes, and some toilet paper. And yeah, it just gives like a more calmer expression, and it's also a bit nice to have some color here. We have just a small hallway. We have a lot of shoes, as you can see here. We're planning to put up like a proper shelf up here so we can put on some more stuff. Like we have a beach bag always packed throughout these like hot summer months, so we can just like grab it and go to the beach or the water, which is a good thing about living in Stockholm because there's a lot of water around and it's clean usually, so you can swim in it. And then this is also a vintage shelf that I thrifted from Marketplace, I think it was. That's been repainted, but I like it. And it was super hard to find a shelf that was under 80 centimeters, because this wall is just, I think, 75 centimeters or so. So I've been looking for this one for so long. A Finnish vintage mirror from Finnish design, and I really like that one as well. So we have like bags here, and some linens, and yeah, just it's really spacious. It's really nice. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you liked watching this video and perhaps got a little bit inspired about the Stockholm balanced way of life. You can find me on Instagram. My name is Gabriella Skog, which is Gabriella SKOG. I think I will be linked as well. Thanks for watching again. See you.